Welcome to Husband Talking. Explore riveting tales of infidelity with us. Please subscribe and like to stay updated. Let's begin.
Imagine this: your wife, the love of your life for 25 years, asks for one final wish before she dies. But it's not what you expect. She wants to spend a weekend with your best friend, Jake. She claims it's her dying wish. I couldn't believe my ears. My heart shattered into a million pieces. How could the woman I loved, the mother of my children, ask for something so outrageous, and my so-called best friend agreeing to it? All this betrayal was too much. What came next was my cruel plan for revenge. This is my story. Here I am, 46 years old, and my wife, Anna, is 2 years younger. We've been married for 25 years, so earlier this year, we celebrated our silver anniversary. We took a week-long cruise to the Eastern Mediterranean and had a wonderful time. Our son, Ethan, just turned 26. He has a degree in computer engineering and married his lovely wife, Grace, who is a joy to be around. Our daughter, Sophie, is 2 years younger than Ethan. She studied music education and works as the assistant choral director at our local high school, a job she loves. She recently married James, and they are very happy together. We don't have any grandchildren yet, but we're enjoying our time alone and not rushing them. Anna and I have had a great marriage. We've always supported each other and taken care of each other's needs. Our love life has slowed down a bit, but we've both been happy with it. She often played the song Bubbly by Colby Calais and said it described how she felt about me. She knew how to make me feel loved. We often hang out with our friends Jake and Emily. I've known Jake since junior high, and we've been best friends ever since. Anna and I are godparents to their 3 grown children, and our kids have always called them Uncle Jake and Aunt Emily. Our families are very close, and we've taken many vacations together. Anna is the most attractive woman in the world to me, but Emily is a close second. However, we've always respected boundaries. We've danced with each other's spouses but never crossed any lines. I would do anything for Jake and Emily, just like I would for Anna. Our life seemed perfect until Anna started feeling unwell. She went to the doctor and was quickly referred to an oncologist. We found out she had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, which can't be cured. The doctor said she might have about 6 months left, with the first 4 being relatively good quality. The last 2 months would likely require palliative care to manage her pain. We were shocked and shared the news with our loved ones. Ethan and Sophie, along with their spouses, came home to support us. They wanted to stay, but Anna didn't want to disrupt their lives. Jake and Emily were devastated too, but their support meant a lot to us. Anna asked them to take care of me after she was gone and encouraged me to date again eventually. I wasn't ready to talk about that, so I stayed silent. I wanted to be the best husband I could be for her until the end. Anna didn't want to waste time feeling sorry for herself. I suggested she quit working, but she insisted on keeping her job for consistency. Interestingly, her desire for intimacy increased, and she wanted to try new things. Despite her illness, she became more adventurous in our sex life, and we enjoyed many special moments together. When we weren't home, we were out with Jake and Emily, making the most of every moment. David, have you been enjoying our sex life lately? Yeah. Babe, it's like you're trying to exhaust me, but I'm not complaining. Every moment with you is special and unforgettable. That's what I'm trying to do, honey. I won't be around much longer, and I want us to make enough special memories to last you a lifetime. Anna, we've been having so much fun lately, and I don't want to waste a single moment just doing nothing. I knew that's how you felt, David. I'm ready for anything whenever you want to do it. I'm glad you said that because I want to talk to you about something important. Sure. Honey, what's on your mind? I love you more than words can say. David, you're the best husband any woman could ask for, and I'm so grateful for all the happy times we've had together. We've been intimate a lot lately, and I want to make sure you're happy as I get closer to the end. I've loved every minute of it. Anna, I couldn't ask for a better wife, and I want to keep making memories with you. Well, all this intimacy has made me think about things I haven't tried yet. I keep thinking about new experiences I want to have before I'm gone. Before we got married, you told me you had been with other people, and that's okay. I was a virgin when we married, and am happy I gave you that gift. But now I'm wondering if you would support me in having an experience with another man before it's too late. I'm not talking about an affair, just one weekend, and then I can put it behind me. Would you be okay with that, David? I can't explain why, but I really need this. David was surprised. He wasn't expecting to hear this. Honey, I hope you're just going through a phase and this feeling will pass soon. Or maybe you're just joking. Please tell me you're not serious. I am serious, David. I don't have time to play games. This is important to me. It's all I can think about. I need this. Please tell me you understand and will give me this gift, she pleaded. David's head was spinning. His wife wanted to be with another man, and she wanted his permission. Anna, I've loved you since the day we met. You're the best wife a man could ask for. I would do anything for you, but I don't know if I can share you with another man. Before we go any further, who did you have in mind? Were you planning on meeting someone new? Of course not. Don't be silly. I would never risk getting sick. I've thought about this a lot and I've talked to Emily and Jake. They understand. It would have to be someone I know, love, and respect. Jake is the man I would be with for just one weekend. Then that need would be met and it would all be in the past. David was stunned. His wife had talked to his best friends behind his back and convinced Jake to be with her for a whole weekend. So you're going to be with my best friend and he's going to be with his wife and his wife is planning to be with me, and you think he'll be happy to be with her in return? You must be joking, he said angrily. Nobody's cheating, honey. I'm suggesting a swap. It's not cheating if you know about it and agree to it. That's why I'm talking to you now. Nothing's happened yet, I swear. I need this, David. If you love me, you'll let me have this as my dying wish. David was shocked. So you're saying if I love you, you're not sure that I do, and calling it a dying wish is a low blow. You're not thinking straight, sweetheart. This is crazy talk. I can't go along with this. If you do this, it will be the end of us. Anna persisted. David, since we got married, you've always given me everything I want. You've taken me on amazing vacations, bought me fancy cars, and let me buy all the clothes and shoes I could ever want. Why is this so different? Did I ever send you on vacation alone with another man? No, it was always you and me. Did you buy those clothes to wear for another man? No, you bought them to please me. It has always been just the two of us together, Anna. Maybe that is too much to ask now, but it would ruin our marriage for me. Please think about it this way: after I'm gone, you will probably be with other women before you decide to remarry. I won't ever have that chance. Can't you see that what I'm asking is fair? I'm sorry you had to make such a big sacrifice being with me and no one else all this time. Once you're free of me, you can try out as many men as you want. You won't even have to worry about pregnancy or STDs. You'll have it made, I said sarcastically. Her anger started rising. Look, I've always put my needs aside to take care of you and our children. I don't regret a single second of it, but now I feel you should be a bit more understanding and put your ego aside just this one time and let me have this, she explained. Let me ask you, Anna, if you weren't dying, would you still want to have sex with another man? Be honest. I don't know. Maybe. Well, thank you for being honest. I'm sorry that I'm not enough for you. She winced but kept going. Let me ask you a question, David. If I never got cancer and I asked you to be intimate with another man, would you deny me that experience? Of course not. Once we were divorced, you could do whatever you want with whoever you want, but you'd never get to experience me again. She ignored my threat and continued. Haven't you always wanted me to have everything? You've always given me more than I asked for. Would you start denying me now as I make my dying request? Anna, I once believed that I was your everything. Thank you for showing me I was wrong. She started crying and ran out of the room. Normally, I'd try to comfort her, but this was different. I hope she changes her mind. I heard her talking on the phone with someone but couldn't hear what was said. 10 minutes later, I heard a car pulling into our driveway. Jake and Emily didn't just decide to drop in for a visit. This is an ambush. As she went to the front door to greet them, I quietly slipped out the back door and walked through the neighborhood. I left my phone on the kitchen table so contacting me would be hard. I had a lot to think about as I walked. When I returned about 50 minutes later, their car was gone. I felt their attempt to ambush me had failed. Where have you been? I've been worried sick. Jake and Emily stopped by, and we didn't know where you were. Anna said when you were upset earlier, I felt we both needed space, so I went for a walk. I don't recall Jake and Emily saying they were stopping by today. What's going on? She gave me a cold look. They were running errands and just happened to be nearby, so they stopped in for a short visit. We've both dropped in on each other dozens of times over the years. It's a shame you missed them. They wanted to talk with you about our earlier conversation. I assure you their eagerness is one-sided. I have no desire to talk to either of them about the bomb you dropped on me earlier. But they are our best friends, your best friends. Who better to talk to about what's on your mind? They were my best friends, but that ended today. From now on, they're your best friends. I will no longer have anything to do with them. You can't mean that, David. Why are you being so stubborn about this? All I did was have a conversation with you, nothing more. Are you willing to throw away a lifetime friendship without a word? You're a better man than that. I know you are, and so does Jake. I assume you talked with them about our conversation while they were here? Of course I did. What do you expect? They're our best friends. That's what friends do. They help each other. I figured as much. And what advice did Jake give you about our problem? They know the kind of man you are, David. They agree you are the kindest, most understanding husband, father, and friend anyone could ever have. He reminded me that you helped him get hired at the same place you work. He said he knows no better man. I'm sure that's not all he said, Anna. What else did he say about our problem? He said he sees both sides of our situation, and even though he's been your best friend for most of your life, you're not the one who's dying. He said special allowances should be made for those who will soon leave this world. His advice makes perfect sense. I agree with him. And what, dear wife, was his advice? I asked sarcastically. She grimaced before saying, he said it was easier to get forgiveness than permission. You will get neither from me. I seethed before walking away. If Jake and Emily weren't history to me before, they certainly are now. The friendship is over. I will limit all contact with Jake at work to a professional level only. We work in different areas, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Later that evening, Anna gradually aroused me and used it to have her way with me again. Anna was happy with the amount of sex they were having, but I felt like she was keeping score. In truth, I didn't mind as long as she didn't cross a line, which I didn't think she had yet. We had been intimate every night that week. On Friday morning before work, Anna told me, honey, I have something to say before you leave. Tonight at 9 p.m., I'm going to Jake and Emily's house. Jake and I will leave from there. He said you won't talk to him about anything but work and you don't answer his calls or texts anymore. Emily said you don't talk to her either. He'll be back Sunday afternoon, and I'm really looking forward to being with you then. I'm telling you this so you'll come straight home after work tonight. I want to make sure you're completely satisfied before I leave. Okay? My world felt like it was falling apart. Everything was about to change. Anna was going to do what she wanted. Anna, you know I love you, but I don't love you enough to forgive you for being with another man. And yes, I call it cheating because I don't agree with it and I don't want you to do it. If you're with Jake or any other man this weekend, I won't be here when you come back. He'll never talk to Jake or Emily again, and I won't have anything to do with our godchildren. You'll all be betraying me in the worst way. If you sleep with him, I won't touch you again, I said sadly. Anna started to cry. Jake and Emily had told her I would forgive her, so she couldn't believe I wouldn't be there for her as she got closer to the end. After tonight, my dear husband, you'll know exactly who I love and need in my life you. But I need this too. I'm sorry you can't consider my feelings and give me my dying wish. She tried to kiss me goodbye, but I avoided her and left quickly. I heard her crying as I walked out the door, hoping she would change her mind. I came home for lunch to check on Anna. She had a suitcase packed and hidden under the bed with underwear I'd never seen before. It seemed like her decision was made, so now I had to make mine. Before going back to work, I sent her a text. I have to work late tonight on a special project. Sorry, not sure when he'll be home. Please change your mind about going with him. I left my phone on the kitchen table. I wouldn't be there for her that night. I wanted her to worry and hopefully change her mind. Later, Jake found me at work. David, you need to stop being so stubborn. Think about Anna, not just yourself. This is her dying wish. I can't say no to her. What I see is my so-called best friend telling me he's going to sleep with my wife to make her happy. I can't stop you from ruining my marriage, but you need to know that there will be consequences. If you touch Anna, then you, Emily, and my godchildren will be out of my life forever. It will end my marriage and our friendship. I guess you'll become Anna's new boyfriend because I won't touch her after you've been with her. David, this isn't like you. You're a better man than this. You don't mean any of it. I know you better than you know yourself. I don't care what you think you know. I meant every word. Now get out of my office? Or do you want to explain to the boss why you're wasting my time? Jake knew I was angry and wouldn't listen to reason. He hoped that after Anna and I were intimate that night, things would work out better. I was furious and shaking with rage. Nothing they could say would change my mind. It seemed like Jake and Emily cared more about Anna than me. I was usually easygoing, but there were some things I wouldn't accept. I left work early to avoid Jake and went to the gym where I hardly ever went. I wanted to work out my anger and not be sore the next day. As I exercised, I felt a mix of sadness, anger, and helplessness. I cried a little but managed to avoid sobbing in front of others. I left the gym at 7:30 after showering, feeling a bit better but still with problems to solve. I went to a restaurant Anna and I enjoyed for special occasions. I thought about all the good times we had there, feeling both happy and sad as I considered my options. I wondered if I was really strong enough to stick to what I had said to Anna. Were my beliefs so important that I was willing to lose everything over them? We had 25 beautiful years before this happened. I never thought I'd face this with her. I thought about beating up Jake, but what good would that do? He knows how I feel and still plans to go through with it, even if I threatened him. Anna had already admitted she might have wanted this someday, even without the cancer. When I didn't come home that evening, Anna got worried. She saw my cell phone on the kitchen table. She guessed I left it there when I texted about working late. Hey Jake, it's Anna. I know it's you, silly. I recognize your sweet voice anywhere. How are things at home with David? Peaceful, I hope, Jake asked. That's what I'm calling about. Do you know why David would be working late tonight? He texted me at noon saying he'd be working on a special project. I can't imagine what David's talking about. I left work a bit late myself, and the parking lot was empty. David's car was already gone. Even though we don't work in the same department, I know about any special projects or overtime work. Have you tried calling him? That's the problem, Jake. I did as soon as I got home to see when he'd be back. But his cell phone is on the kitchen table, so I can't reach him. If he's not at work, didn't you say you were going to give him a very special lovemaking session tonight that would leave him weak in the knees? Yes, I made that clear to him this morning. So the only conclusion I can draw is that he's avoiding me. What am I going to do, Jake? Anna, I know David. He's just having a little pity party. He's playing a childish game to mess up your plans. If he chooses to miss out on tonight, then he's a fool. He doesn't realize how lucky he is to have you. After you're gone, he'll regret missing every moment with you. David's a good man, my best friend, but even good men can make stupid mistakes. You know what you want. You deserve it, and he's trying to ruin it. If you want to cancel, he'll understand. No, Jake, I'm not saying that. I've already put up with too much grief from him to cancel now. You're right, Jake. If he misses tonight, it's his loss. He'll save my energy for being with you this weekend. I can't thank you and Emily enough. That's the spirit, Anna. Hopefully, David will come to his senses and spend some time with you. Thanks, Jake. I feel a lot better. He'll wait for him to come home, but I still plan on leaving around 9. He'll be at your place shortly after. Nothing would make me happier, Anna. I promise to give you my best this weekend. I hope it's what you're looking for. I'm sure it will be. See you soon, Jake. Bye. As I sat in the restaurant, I thought about my options. If she goes with Jake, I will never touch her again. She would be breaking our wedding vows. She's not being forced, this is her choice. On top of that, I'm losing my 2 best friends. They're both part of Anna's betrayal. I would never do to Jake what he's doing to me. The 3 of them will be dead to me. Divorce. I could have her served, but it would be pointless since she would be dead before it was finalized. I need to protect my finances. Who knows what she'll do next? I got home at 9:30 that night. She was gone. She had to be with Jake. I had never felt sadder or lonelier. The pain of loss was overwhelming, but I knew what I needed to do. I found a sealed envelope on the kitchen table with my name on it. It was under Anna's cell phone. She didn't want to be disturbed this weekend. I was fine with that. I decided not to touch the envelope and left it unopened. When I checked my phone for messages, I saw that Shed called and texted me earlier. She was concerned at my lack of response and swore Shed make it up to me when she returned. She said she needed this and swore she loved me and only me. Her words meant nothing to me. I deleted them all. The first thing I did was move all my clothes and belongings from the master bedroom to the spare bedroom. I made sure not to leave a single trace that I had ever been in that room. Next, I took our wedding album and cut out all my images from every picture. I reassembled the album and left it on her bed. I called my brother and asked if I could stay with his family for a few nights. He has a spare bedroom and invited me to stay as long as I needed. I took one of Anna's sleeping pills to help me sleep. Sometimes medicine can work wonders. The next morning, the doorbell woke me. I put on my robe and went to the door. "What are you doing here, Emily?" "I thought I made things clear to Jake yesterday," I said. "Good morning, David." "I could have used our key, Emily replied. "We both have spare keys to each other's houses. Can I come in?" I realized she was right and let her in. "What you have to say, you can say it right here." "Why are you here?" "Well, if you answered your phone, I wouldn't have to come over," she said. "For the last time, Emily, why are you here?" "I'm here for you, David. Anna told me you weren't happy with the plan, so I'm here to help you. You're one of my best friends." "Help me? How do you plan on doing that, Emily?" "However you need, David. I can be a friend to talk to, a housekeeper, a cook, or even someone to be with to help you feel better. We all agreed that you could have me just like they have each other this weekend. Clearly, the three of you have agreed to a lot of things I don't agree with. I have a lot to do today, and you're here at a bad time. Please leave and don't come back. If you use that key, I'll call the police." "Goodbye, Emily," I said, shutting the door. I watched from the window as she cried on the phone, probably talking to Jake or Anna. I had tried to be polite, but I was still upset. She sat in her car for a few minutes, then drove away. After breakfast, I went to a store and bought new locks for 2 of the doors. I felt better knowing I had the only keys. Next, I changed my phone number so Anna couldn't reach me. Lastly, I took off my wedding ring and crushed it in my workshop, leaving it on the kitchen table next to her phone. I packed a small bag and took my brother's family out for lunch on Sunday. Anna was supposed to be back that afternoon, and I wanted to be gone before she arrived. I had a good time with my family. When Anna got home Sunday afternoon, she expected to find her husband, who she would comfort until he forgot about her being gone. She was upset when he wasn't there. She thought he might be running errands until she saw their wedding album on the bed. She started crying when she saw he had cut himself out of all the pictures. Then she noticed all his clothes were gone too. Had he moved out? She saw the sealed letter she had left for him on the bed. She tried to call David, but the number was no longer in service. Things were getting worse. This wasn't what Jake had told her to expect. He had said David couldn't live without her. She checked the rest of the house and saw new locks on the spare bedroom door. Maybe he hadn't left but was just angry and staying in another room. Not sure who to call, Anna called Emily to see if David had said anything to her about his plans. "No, Anna. When I called Jake that morning, I told him everything David had said, which wasn't much. It really hurt when David was so mean to me. What's going on?" Anna told her what she found when she got home. Jake and Emily listened on speakerphone. "Didn't you leave David the letter explaining that you were going to quit your job and spend your remaining time making him happy?" Jake asked. "Yes, Jake. I wrote him that letter just like you said, but he never opened it. He has no idea what it says." "Still here," she cried. "I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, Anna. It's clear David moved his things to the spare bedroom to upset you. He's just having a pity party. He'll be back soon, trust me. I hope you're right. Thanks for the encouragement," Anna said gratefully. Anna then tried calling David's brother and parents. His parents had no idea where he was, and his brother said he hadn't heard from him, as David had asked. Anna realized it was her turn to be patient, just as David had to be over the weekend, but she missed him deeply. She had never felt so disconnected from him and cried herself to sleep alone in bed for the first time in a long while. At 6:30 a.m. Monday, I called work before the office opened, leaving a voicemail for my boss saying I needed 2 personal days for a family emergency. I didn't want to interact with Jake yet, nor did I want any of them to reach me at work. I decided to move some money around to protect our finances. We had a good nest egg after 25 years of marriage, and I wanted to keep it safe. The trust one once had in Anna was gone. I moved 2/3 of our cash and investments into accounts only I could access. She wouldn't notice unless she went looking, since all the bills would still get paid. This took most of the day, but I was glad to have a break from the drama. I knew the real confrontation would come when I returned home. I took a relaxing walk in the park Tuesday morning and had lunch at a nearby diner. The movie theaters opened at noon, so I spent the afternoon there. Tuesday night brought back some of the tension about facing her. I promised myself not to argue. I thanked my brother and his family for giving me a place to stay and time to think. Wednesday morning, I went back to work. My boss didn't ask about my family situation, and I appreciated that. As soon as Jake found out I was at work, he came straight to my office. "Well, it's about time you showed up. Have you spoken with Anna yet? She's worried sick about you," Jake said. He closed my office door. I ignored him, walked to the door, reopened it, and left the office without acknowledging him. He followed me for a short distance, calling after me as I headed to the men's room. I didn't respond. I decided not to communicate with Jake or Emily anymore. I was sure Anna would keep them updated, but I wouldn't talk to them. Jake would let Anna know he saw me. She called 4 times in a row. I put each call on hold and listened to music until she stopped calling. As I left work, Jake said nothing but followed me to a restaurant. I didn't want my meal ruined by an emotional conversation. He waited until I left and followed me again. I saw him on the phone as I neared my house. I knew he was talking to Anna. She would be waiting for me. As I pulled into the driveway, she ran out to meet me, reaching for a hug. I quickly grabbed my gym bag to keep some distance between us as we entered the house. Anna, tearful, began, "Where have you been, David? Do you have any idea how worried I've been? I've not had a moment's peace until you walked in. Don't you ever scare me like that again. I might have an idea of how worried you were. Were you as worried that I was with another woman as I was about you with another man? I doubt it. After all, that would be cheating, right? I hope Emily told you that I didn't let her in the house." Her unhappy expression showed she understood my remark. I was proud of myself for not raising my voice. "David, I know you're upset, and that's why we need to talk this through and put it behind us. You have no idea how much I want you tonight. I plan to make it up to you. I just ate. Anna, I'm sure Jake filled you in. Now is not a good time. I can't imagine there ever will be a good time. Your body is ruined for me by him. There's no way I can touch you now. Just the thought makes me sick. I'm tired. It's been a long day. Good night. Don't you walk away from me, David. I was worried sick, and you just dismiss me? That's not going to work. I want you in my bed tonight, and I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Look, Anna, I just walked in the door, and I'm tired. Let me shower and change. I promise we'll talk later after I've cleaned up. Fair enough?" Stunned that I showed no interest in being with her, she agreed to my request. I carried my bag to my bedroom and locked the door. After stripping down to my boxers, I took fresh clothes into the hall bath and had a long, hot shower. I knew this night would be tough. To her credit, she left me alone. She probably saw the lock on the hall bath door and didn't try to open it. I dressed and took my dirty clothes back to my room, locking the door again. I decided I would start washing my own clothes from now on. She was waiting for me in the den, sitting on the couch in a see-through negligee. I sat in a single chair next to the couch, which obviously annoyed her. "Come over here, big boy, and sit beside me. I have a lot to tell you and show you," she said in her sexiest voice. "I can hear you just fine from here. What do you want to tell me?" Disappointed but determined, she said, I love you, and I know you love me. We are meant to be together forever. I'll get to the other side before you, but I'll wait for you until you join me. Until then, I hope you have a long, happy life, even if that means being with other women. I don't want to waste any more time without you in my arms. Let's put this issue behind us and never revisit it. I want to love you like never before until I die. That's what I want, David. I have some questions before we go any further. Of course, David. Go ahead. Did you have sex with Jake last weekend? She nodded silently. Did you do everything with him that you do with me? Jake said it would be best not to give you details. He said it might make you too angry. Angry? Oh, I see. So he's in charge of our marriage now. You've told me all I need to know. Good night, Anna. I stood up to leave the room. Okay. I'll answer your questions. Please sit back down, she pleaded. Before you left for the weekend, I told you what the consequences would be. Instead of believing me, you believed him. You trusted the wrong man. Now you have to live with that. Stop calling him that. He's your best friend. He was your best friend before you met me. They're our best friends. You're just upset. Jake said you might need time to calm down. He's right about that. I figure I might calm down in about, say, 8 months. Her eyes widened. 6 months? He'll be gone before then, David. You can't mean that. We need to get past this now. Let me help you get past it. I'll make it up to you. I'm sorry, Anna. I'm not in the mood to vomit. Intentional nausea is not on my agenda. Are you leaving me, David? Are you saying this is the end of us? She asked, her voice trembling. I thought long and hard about that while you were with another man last weekend. As you know, I'm not the kind of man who abandons his vows. He'll keep and honor them until death do us part. I won't cheat on you like you did on me. He'll stay here in the house, but we will live in separate bedrooms. He'll pay the bills and do my usual chores. I'm not going anywhere. I won't abandon you in sickness and in health, remember? But my vows don't require me to have sex with you or kiss you ever again. All I ask is that you don't invite that man or his wife over here anymore. If you do, please let me know so I can leave until they're gone. What have I done? I have destroyed us. No, David, if what you say is true, it wasn't worth it. 1,000 weekends with him or anyone else wouldn't be worth it. My only hope is that you can find it in your heart to forgive me before it's too late. I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry for what I've done to us. The heart doesn't always listen to what the brain says it should never do. Do one more thing, Anna. Since you will no longer be having sex with me, if you ever get with him again or anyone else, please don't do it in this house. Meet them somewhere else. I don't want to know about it. Her face reddened with anger. Now you listen to me and you listen good. That was a one-time thing. It will never happen again. I want the last man I'm with to be you. I swear I'll never be with another man besides you. I heard you make that same vow on our wedding day. Forgive me for having trouble believing you. She began sobbing uncontrollably. I went to my bedroom, locked the door, and left her crying on the couch. The next morning, I left for work early to avoid her. Mid-morning, Jake stormed into my office. I'm not leaving, David, until you talk to me. What you're doing to Anna is unforgivable. I'm going to talk to you until you change your mind. I picked up the phone and called my boss. Hi, Dennis. I have a problem. Jake is in my office and won't leave. He's interfering with my work. Can you help? After a pause, I said, thanks, Dennis. Are you serious? You're not man enough to talk to me, so you call in the boss? Something like that, I said as my office phone rang. Yes, sir. They'll put him on. It's for you, I said, handing Jake the phone. Hello. Yes, sir. I understand. It won't happen again. Defeated, he handed me the receiver. This isn't over, David. We have too much history for things to end this way. I ignored him until he left. He knew I'd report any further harassment at work. If he contacted me outside of work, I'd deal with it then. Anna had less than 2 good months left, according to the doctors. I could manage 2 months of hell if I had to. That evening, I visited a family restaurant to avoid eating with Anna. I needed to find places to eat after she was gone. When I got home, she had cooked dinner. Hi, honey. I fixed your favorite. I hope you're hungry. I noticed you were a bit late, but I kept it warm for us. I'm sorry, but I've already eaten. That's why I'm late. Since you won't be around much longer, I'm finding places to eat after you're gone. I should have told you I'll be eating out from now on. That should make things easier for you. You jerk. You're taking that away from me too. You've made it clear that I'm off limits for sex. But I was hoping you'd let me cook for you. Am I nothing to you now? Is that it? I can't say the words you want to hear. Anna. You say you're sorry for being with another man. I'm sorry there are consequences for your actions. Neither of us is happy, but it is what it is. I'm going to my room now. She began crying again. David, you don't need to hide in your room all the time. Can't you at least watch TV down here or something? I don't have the plague, and I can't infect you with my cancer. Please don't shut me out completely. I'll think about it, but only if you promise 2 things, I said. Tell me, she replied. First, never mention that weekend or what it cost us. I don't want to hear your side of the story. And the other, never talk about that jerk or his wife to me again. If you see them, don't tell me about it before or after. Deal? She looked sad that I was so harsh with her friends. Deal. She never asked to choose what to watch on TV. We only talked about work, politics, family, or boring stuff. She kept her promise about the tough topics. But I knew they were there. If she called my old friends, she did it when I wasn't around. She knew it upset me, so we had an uneasy peace. I heard her crying herself to sleep every night. I don't think she regretted what she did, only what happened afterward. Then she surprised me on Saturday. She asked to join me for breakfast and lunch. Since I wouldn't let her cook, I stopped that by eating cereal and then mowing the lawn. I did the dishes after I ordered a sandwich for lunch to keep working on the car. She was doing laundry and asked me to add my clothes to hers. I said no, I'd do them myself. She cried again and walked away. Who knew a woman would cry over her husband doing his own laundry? I was glad to have chores to keep me busy and not think about my pain. Later, I heard noise. Our kids, Ethan and Grace, along with Sophie and James, were chatting with their mom. I asked why they were here. Hey, Dad. It's good to see you too, Ethan said and hugged me. We've been talking to Mom since she got sick. She doesn't have many good days left, so we brought food for a cookout. You and Mom relax, we'll handle everything. I loved seeing the kids, but this wasn't a coincidence. I bet Anna planned it. Like they say, all's fair in love and war. We weren't fighting a war, but it felt close enough for her to use the kids. An hour later, I was told the grill was clean and everything was ready. Anna said, David, honey, the kids want ice cream, but I need to get a few things. They'll be back soon, and left. As soon as she did, I felt attacked by my kids. Sophie asked, Daddy, can we talk? Of course, I said. She started, Daddy, Mom and I talk a lot. We know about what she did with Uncle Jake. She told me. We were surprised, but now we understand. We get why it was hard for you, but you've had time to think. She won't do it again, and we believe her. This was just something she wanted to do before she died. Can't you forgive her? You haven't touched her since, and you stopped talking to Uncle Jake and Aunt Emily. Dad, they've always been your best friends. Don't you see Uncle Jake was just helping someone who is dying? So you think I should just forget about it? I asked. All 4 of them nodded. I took a moment to gather my thoughts. I loved these people more than anything and didn't want to alienate them. Then an idea came to me. Ethan, you're my son. You know I'd die for you without a second thought, right? Sure, Dad. You've always been there for me. No doubt about it. And Grace, as my son's wife, you know I love you too. Don't you? I would die for you as well if I had to, I said. Of course, Dad. And we love you just as much. All 4 of us would do anything for you and Mom. That's why we're here, because we love both of you so much, she replied. I'm glad to hear that, Grace. It makes it easier to ask this next question. As you know, I'm not getting any younger. Because of what your mother did, I've thought a lot about bucket lists, even my own. So, Ethan, would you be willing to let Grace spend a weekend with me to fulfill a bucket list item? If she and I spent a weekend together like your mom and Jake did, it would show me that you mean what you say and are willing to back it up with actions. If you do that, maybe I could forgive your mother. What? Are you crazy? Ethan shouted. Grace turned bright red at the suggestion. There's no way I'd ever agree to that, Dad. Not even if you were dying. I realize Grace isn't your blood relative, but it still feels like incest to me. I can't believe you'd even suggest it. He was furious. Oh, you mean like Uncle Jake and your mom? That kind of thing? I asked. They all fell silent, thinking about what I'd said. I let the moment linger before speaking again. Grace, I owe you and my son an apology. I would never ask such a thing, not even if I was dying. I asked to make a point. Ethan, you said you wouldn't agree to it even if I was dying. Neither would I. It's easier for you to forgive your mom because you aren't married to her. But think about this, Ethan. If Grace went with me and came back, would you look at her the same way again? Could you forgive her as easily as you're asking me to forgive your mother? The room was silent as they thought it over. Then Ethan nodded at James, and they shook hands. Sophie hugged Grace. Ethan turned to me. Dad, you're right. Thanks for teaching us another important life lesson. We were only seeing this from Mom's perspective. We hadn't thought about it from your side. And you've opened our eyes. We don't love Mom any less and still want her to be happy until the end. But we understand that she lost the right to ask for your forgiveness when she did what she did. We agree with your feelings about Uncle Jake and Aunt Emily. We're not taking sides. We love both of you, but we won't pressure you to forgive Mom. She'll have to accept that. We'll be there for her in every way we can, but we won't support her using us to force you to forgive her. I couldn't be prouder of all four of you. I never wanted you to turn your backs on your mother. She will need you more than ever toward the end, and I know you'll be there for her. I hugged each of them in turn, feeling relieved at how things had turned out. The rest of the evening went well. Anna seemed happy with my positive attitude when she returned from the store. The kids cooked the burgers and hot dogs perfectly, and the soft-serve strawberry ice cream for dessert was delicious. Anna didn't get a chance to talk to them alone because I stayed close. After the cleanup, hugs, and kisses, Anna wanted to talk to me. You seem to be in a good mood, David. It's wonderful to see you smile so much, she said. The kids always cheer me up when they visit. How could I not smile with them around? A little birdie told me they were going to talk to you while I was at the store. They didn't seem angry, so did the conversation go well? Did they persuade you to see things my way? Your way? They said they loved us both equally and weren't taking sides. That seemed fair to me. You and I did a great job raising those kids, didn't we? My birdie made me think you'd either see things my way or be left out in the cold. I don't know about that, Anna. Maybe you should check with your birdie again. I'm going to take a shower and change. It's been a busy day for both of us. I left her puzzled as I headed to the shower. I knew she'd talk to Sophie while I was getting cleaned up. I wondered how her attitude would change after their talk. You're just being stubborn and can't get over yourself, Anna yelled as I walked in. Maybe it's good you learned that now before wasting time with me, I said. I'm sure your friend will be a much better husband since I'm clearly not good enough. She ignored me and said, Seriously? You asked Grace to sleep with you? You should check with her before making things worse. I just used it as a lesson. They told me they were staying neutral after hearing me out. I would never do anything with Grace. Ask her yourself if you don't believe me. She was mad because using the kids didn't work. I bet Sophie told her what happened. She was just trying to make me angry. I sat down and started watching TV. She went to her room and slammed the door. I hoped she'd stay there. Another week went by with us barely talking. She was getting more frustrated, but we lived peacefully enough. We still didn't eat together, and I did my own laundry and dishes. She went out the next Saturday night and came back late. I thought she saw those awful people, but she didn't say, and I didn't ask. I think that made her even angrier. The next Monday, the big boss, Mr. Benson, was in my office. I rarely saw him. Good morning, sir. What brings you here? I asked politely. It's David, right? David Greenlee? Yes, sir. David, I've heard good things about you. Your boss, Dennis, says you do great work. I like to know what's happening in the company, and I want you to know you're valuable. Thank you, sir. That means a lot. Yes, but there's something else. Of course, sir. Go ahead. David, do you know Henry Anderson? I know of a Henry Anderson, sir. He's my wife's father, right? He's my golfing buddy. We've known each other for years. He never said you worked here until recently. He wanted you to succeed on your own, and you have. I respect that. But Henry said you and his daughter are having problems. He also said she has cancer and doesn't have long to live. Is that true? Yes, sir, but he cut me off. As a father, Henry just wants his daughter to be happy in her last days. I'm sure you understand. He asked me to check on you. Sometimes men need to be nicer to their wives. It happens to everyone. I'm sure you're a good husband. I wouldn't want to hear from Henry that you're not doing your part at home. Your job reviews look at your character too, you know. I was shocked my father-in-law was telling on me. I couldn't blame him, but I don't like being pressured. I didn't want to upset the CEO more, so I said, of course, sir. Thank you. He'll handle it. Make sure you do. I don't want to have this talk again. I promise, sir. You won't need to. Thank you for your advice. He left happy, thinking he'd fixed his friend's problem. After he was gone, I wrote my resignation letter and packed my things. I went to HR, handed in my letter, gave back my ID, and left the building. This solved 2 problems. It kept me away from my ex-friend and my father-in-law's meddling. But it created another. I was unemployed. I had a lot of time to think now. It was still early, so I went home and did some chores. Anna came home from work at her usual time. You're home early. How come? She asked. I gave her my usual annoyed look. I quit my job today. You what? She yelled. Yeah, it seems your dad had it in for me, so I had no other choice, I said calmly. My dad? How on earth did my dad make you quit your job? Since you asked, I learned today that your dad regularly golfs with the CEO of my company, Henry Benson. Mr. Benson came to my office this morning and told me your dad had been complaining about how I've been treating you. He made it clear that unless I fix things at home to your dad's satisfaction, my job could be in jeopardy. He threatened me with bad performance reviews that would affect my career. As you know, I don't take threats kindly. Even if I became your dream husband again, the damage is done. I've been cast in a bad light by the CEO, so I resigned my position, and here I am. How dare you blame my dad for you losing your job? You're a quitter, David. You quit on me, our marriage, and your job. Now you want to blame my dad for your failures? He's a better man than you'll ever be. She fumed. I see my mistake. I'm sorry for telling you the truth. I won't make that mistake again. How about this? My big toe hurt today, so I quit. Is that a better reason for you? You jerk. Why do you have to be so stubborn? Why can't you forgive me and let us get back to our normal happy life before it's too late? Why would you want to be with a stubborn jerk like me? It makes no sense. That ex-friend is a much better man than he'll ever be. Why don't you move in with them and enjoy the time you have left? He was the last one you had sex with. I bet he'd be happy to do it again. Why stay with me if I'm such a loser? Because I love you and only you, David. No matter what, you're the only man I've ever truly loved. You're just too blind to see it, she said, frustrated. We were both stuck, she in her love for me, and me in my refusal to accept her infidelity. We remained at a standstill. I'm going to get something to eat. They'll be back later. Why don't you call your dad while I'm gone and see if he can get someone to beat me up for you? I said sarcastically. I thought she was out of tears. I was wrong. I left the house alone to avoid more drama and have a peaceful meal out. Evidently, she did call her father while I was out, and she was waiting for me when I got back. I'm sorry, David. I had no idea my father would use his friendship with your boss to try to blackmail you. As much as I love my dad and appreciate what he was trying to do, messing with someone's career isn't right. His heart was in the right place. I take full responsibility because I hadn't told him the whole truth about my part in our problems. I figured as much. Look, I understand why your dad would try to use his influence to help you. You know, I'd do anything to help our kids. But I thought he was a better man than that. Now I see he didn't have all the facts. Well, I'm going to fix that if I can, and Dad's going to help me. Unless he never wants to see me again. What do you mean, Anna? How can you fix anything about my career? I've made a decision. Tomorrow morning, I'm resigning from my job. I won't need another job anyway. Dad and I are going to help you find a better job than the one you had. It's our fault you were put in a tough position, so it's our job to make it right. Dad knows a lot of people besides your boss. He'll use his connections, and so will I. We'll do our best to find the perfect job for you. Is that okay? This is a surprise. I was expecting another argument, but this is unexpected. I don't know what my options are, but I'm happy to accept help from you both. Thank you. I twisted Dad's arm, and he's taking a vacation week to help us. I'm gonna find you another job or die trying, she joked. True to her word, Henry was at our house early the next morning. He rode with Anna to work as she resigned from her job. She had planned on resigning soon anyway and was relieved to avoid the sorry you're dying going away party they would have held. When they returned, our house became job central that week. All three of us were constantly on the phone with business contacts and connections. Getting interviews was easy, but we wanted each interview to be a solid opportunity, not a long shot. The economy was shrinking, and good jobs were scarce. I must have gone on a dozen interviews that week with their help. I'd never seen Anna more dedicated. She had a fierce determination to honor her word. Help came from an unlikely source. Henry swallowed his pride and contacted Grayland Benson, explaining that Head misunderstood his daughter's situation and had acted too quickly. He said he was sorry for causing trouble at Henry's work and explained that I couldn't go back to my old job. Grayland was upset to lose me and blamed his friend for overreacting. But then he quickly said Head make some calls to help me out. Just 50 minutes later, we got a surprising call from Cambridge Enterprises. They needed someone new to handle their buying. They're a special kind of factory that helps inventors make their product ideas real. Investors give money for the ideas, and Cambridge makes them into actual products. Making all sorts of different things is hard, but they found their own special way of doing it. We learned that most of the new products don't become popular, but the few that do make all the effort worth it. I talked to them the next day, but it felt like they'd already decided to hire me. They'd had problems with the last few people in that job being dishonest, so they were looking for someone honest and trustworthy. Grayland's good word about me really helped. They offered me a substantial salary than I used to make. Grayland was a really good guy. I would start in 5 weeks after they cleaned up some staff issues. I thanked Henry and Anna for their help in getting this great chance. They both said it was the least they could do since they were involved in me losing my old job. Henry and I were back to being friends again. He appreciated that before the whole weekend thing, I was a good husband to his daughter. He also said many men wouldn't have stayed with their wives in a similar situation, and Anna would have been alone at the end. He got teary-eyed as we shook hands, saying he had his respect for me back. It was like Anna had been holding on just to see me get this new job. The next day, she collapsed in pain and turned very yellow. I rushed her to the hospital, where they told us this was the cancer's normal course. Her doctor sent her home with many medications to help with the pain and make her comfortable. When people found out they visited her, it seemed to say goodbye. I did my best to make everyone feel welcome and tried to schedule the visits so they wouldn't all come at once. One afternoon, Anna told me that Jake, Emily, and their kids wanted to visit her. I said I understood and would arrange it. She knew what that meant. I called Sophie and asked her to be with her mom during the visit and to text me when they left. She took care of it. My daughter is very smart. It worked out well, and I avoided an unpleasant encounter. That visit opened Sophie's eyes. Our kids started spending more time with Anna, knowing she didn't have much time left. 2 weeks later, Anna was too weak to get out of bed. Insurance let me hire a nurse for the daytime, and I took care of her at night after work. She was very thin and weak. She had a machine to help with the pain. All she had to do was press a button. She couldn't talk on the phone anymore, so I put it away. Everything went through me now. Emily called to ask about Anna and was worried that she couldn't reach her. I explained and she asked to visit again. I said it wasn't a good idea. She was sad but didn't push it. Our kids and their spouses took turns helping me so I could rest sometimes. That was a big help. As Anna got worse, I offered to put her in hospice, but she strongly refused, saying she wanted to die at home with loved ones. I sadly agreed. Anna fell into a deep sleep and couldn't be woken up. I thought it was like a coma and knew the end was near. One of our kids was always there, ready to call the rest of us if anything changed. Late one night, I was in her room, ready to sleep myself. Suddenly, Anna sat up. She'd been almost unresponsive for 3 weeks, and now she was sitting up. I don't know how she did it. She looked radiant and had the most beautiful smile. Then she spoke. "I'm sorry I hurt you, David. Please forgive me. I love you so much." I rushed to her, kissed her, and said, "Of course I forgive you, Anna. I love you too." She gently lay back down and fell asleep again. I knew this was it and called all the kids in. They stayed with me as I held her hand. For hours later, she took her last breath. All of us cried and hugged each other, clinging to the love we had for one another, a love that came from her. I was exhausted making the arrangements, but Ethan and Sophie were a big help. Anna had made things easier by planning almost everything in advance. She was cremated, and we held a memorial service at a nearby chapel. Sophie told me nervously that her mom had asked for Jake to speak after the minister. She believed it would be too much to ask of me. I was stunned that she had made these arrangements without telling me. But the kids begged me to honor her wish. I agreed for their sake. Before the service started, the family met to console each other and greet visitors. I wasn't surprised to be hugged by Sarah, Lucas, and Olivia. They were our godchildren and had nothing to do with their parents' actions. I hugged them back, realizing how much I still loved them. Jake and Emily kept their distance but spoke to everyone else. Henry held up better than I thought he would. He made it clear he didn't want any distance between us, and I felt the same. During the memorial, Grace, Ethan's wife, sat on my left, holding my hand. Sophie was on my right, holding my other hand. I loved my children and appreciated the love Anna had instilled in them for family. The minister gave an inspiring message of hope and deliverance. The music included 3 songs close to Anna's heart. Jake then took the stage. Grace and Sophie squeezed my hands, reassuring me they were there to help me get through this. Jake said Anna had asked him to read a letter she wrote. She must have given it to him during their last visit when Sophie was there. The letter encouraged everyone to make the most of their time, forgive one another, and stay in contact with me and the kids. She even joked about helping me find quality women to live a full life. Everyone, including me, laughed at that. That was just like Anna. When he finished, Jake added his own words. "I've known David longer than anyone here. Anna wanted us all to forgive one another. I admit I did something wrong for the right reasons, but David refuses to forgive me. We've been best friends since junior high, yet he can't find it in his heart to forgive me this one time." As Jake continued, Ethan stood up and gave the signal to the minister, who turned off Jake's microphone. Grace, Sophie, James, and Ethan helped me leave the main chapel. Emily, Sarah, Lucas, and Olivia also stood up and walked out with us. Jake was shocked to see his own family leave. Ethan explained, "Sarah told me she overheard her dad might call you out. I arranged a signal with the minister to cut his mic if he did. I spoke to him firmly when he arrived, and he swore he'd only say what Mom wanted." I looked at Sarah. She said, "I love my dad, and I love all of you. What he said wasn't right. We know what happened and stand with you today. Your family too. I'm sorry we've been distant since that weekend. I love you all even more now. You've shown your true colors, and I like what I see." Emily added, "But you, Teresa, David, am sorry for my part in all this. All I can do is offer my deepest apology and condolences. What my husband did was wrong, and I don't support him attacking you publicly. I'm embarrassed. Please don't let his actions ruin your happiness. You have a wonderful family to support you. Take joy in them," she urged. Teresa, a wise person, once told me, "You can be bitter or better, but you can't be both." Teresa hugged me tightly. She was still married to Jake and had supported his and Anna's actions. I didn't know if I could ever overcome that. Moments later, the doors opened, and the crowd began exiting the chapel. Everyone who passed offered their condolences. I asked the kids, including Sarah, Lucas, and Olivia, to take care of the flowers from the service. They promised they would and thanked me. As I prepared to leave, Sarah asked if she could accompany me. Ethan and Sophie nodded in approval as she took my hand and led me to my car. She drove us home and prepared a wonderful meal from the many dishes friends had brought. She cleaned the kitchen and kept me company until supper as my kids came over. Sarah hugged me tightly, said she loved me, and asked me to stay close. Sarah was a good person and had been raised well. Over the next few weeks, Jake tried several times to make up with me, but I refused. His kids invited me and my kids over a couple of times for barbecues, but they never mentioned Jake or Emily. After that, we didn't talk as much. Everyone has their own lives, and I wasn't sad about it. I focused on my job, making sure to get everything we needed on time and for a good price. I had a team of 7 people, 3 of whom were new. I was proud of how well we were working together. Everyone did their part, and I thought of them as my work family. A little over a year after Anna died, I got a mysterious text from Ethan asking me to meet him at a fancy restaurant called La Bella Vita on Saturday night. He said it was his treat and that he was working on something special and wanted me to meet his contact there. He asked me to dress up in a suit. I wondered what he was up to and was happy he wanted to include me. I got my best suit cleaned for the meeting. La Bella Vita is a fancy place where important people go for special occasions. It's expensive but known for its amazing food. I had never been there before. Ethan told me to give my name to the person at the door when I arrived. He quickly checked my reservation and asked me to follow the waiter to my table. As we walked, I could feel the romantic atmosphere with couples looking lovingly at each other. There were also a few tables with businessmen, which I thought was where I was headed. As we got closer, I saw a well-dressed woman sitting alone at a table. I thought she looked very elegant and that some man was lucky. I was surprised when the waiter stopped and told me to sit at her table. "There must be some mistake," I said. "No, there's no mistake," he replied. "May I help you with your chair?" I pulled out the chair across from the woman and sat down. She seemed as surprised as I was. "Hello, Emily." "David, what are you doing here?" she asked. "I'm guessing the same reason as you." "Let me guess. Did Ethan invite you here tonight?" "No, Sarah did. I was supposed to meet her here at 8. And I was supposed to meet Ethan here at 8. I think something's fishy." Right then, both our phones buzzed with new messages. We both read them. "Let me guess, Sarah can't make it tonight." "How did you—" "Oh, I see. Yes, we've been tricked by our kids." The waiter waited patiently as if he expected something. "Emily, since we're here, would you like to order something instead of wasting the night?" "Might as well," she agreed. "I've heard good things about this place." "Me too," I said, looking at the waiter. "Yes, sir. Could we have 2 menus?" "Oh, that won't be necessary, sir," he said, clapping his hands twice. 3 waiters quickly came from the kitchen with trays of delicious-smelling food. They put the dishes in front of us as if they already knew what we wanted and then left quickly. We were both surprised again. "How? What? But these are all my favorite dishes," Emily exclaimed. "Mine too. It's like someone who knows us both very well ordered for us. Isn't it?" "Those rascals," she said. "I must say, if I'm going to be surprised, I can think of worse things to be surprised with." "You're right about that," I said, understanding what she meant. "I can guess why they did this. They knew you'd never contact me. You made it clear how you felt about us after everything happened. And now looking back, I don't blame you, David. Actually, I don't mind so much since it's just you. But if he had been here with you, I would have never sat down." "He? You mean Jake? Are you saying you don't know?" she asked, surprised. "No. What? Has something happened to him? I haven't talked to him since before Anna died, and the kids know better than to bring him up to me." "I see. Well, that explains it then. A lot has happened. Do you want to hear the story?" "Emily, I have nothing else planned tonight. You've made me curious." "Okay. But I have to warn you that you might hear his name a lot in my story. It's been over a year. I think I can handle it without getting upset." "Go ahead, Emily." About 5 weeks after Anna's memorial service, Jake felt something wasn't right, so he went to the doctor, who sent him to a specialist. He was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. The only option was major surgery to remove his prostate. The cancer was so advanced that they had to remove every trace. During the surgery, they severed many blood vessels and nerves. After his recovery, Jake realized the surgery had left him impotent. The severed blood vessels meant he couldn't get enough blood flow to achieve an erection. The damaged nerves left him with no sensation for arousal or orgasm. Jake couldn't ejaculate anymore. This news shocked me. I hadn't heard any of this. The kids had protected me from hearing about his condition. She saw the surprise on my face and continued, I hope you don't mind my honesty, David. I've been close friends with you and Anna, so I feel comfortable sharing personal details with you. I nodded. After the surgery, Jake had regular radiation treatments that affected him mentally and emotionally. At first, he tried hard to take care of my needs in other ways. I think it helped his self-image, but eventually his frustration took over and he stopped trying. He told me to buy toys to take care of myself. He became depressed and refused counseling. He started drinking heavily and became verbally abusive. When he lost his job, things got worse. He started hitting me. I refused to stay a victim. After 3 strikes, he was out. My divorce from Jake was granted just last week. David. I haven't been intimate with a man for nearly a year. My mind raced hearing about what they had been through. Though I would never say it out loud, I thought karma is a bitch. Then I looked at Emily. I didn't know Emily. I don't know what to say. I had no idea about his diagnosis or how he mistreated you. I feel foolish for turning my back on you too. I wish I had been there for you. You didn't deserve that any more than you deserved what happened to you. David. It looks like we both got a raw deal. I reached across the table and placed my hand over hers. We can't change the past, but maybe we can do something about the future. I got up, moved my chair next to hers, leaned over, and gave her a tender kiss. She was as receptive as I was. Right after our kiss ended, we heard a group of people jump up and shout, "Yes," while pumping their arms in the air. We noticed all our kids and their spouses sitting at a large table in the corner, watching us. We laughed until our sides hurt and we could hardly breathe. The sweetness of our kids' gesture, the love Emily and I shared, and the challenges we had both faced bonded us in a unique way. The dark clouds lifted, and sunshine once again prevailed. We told the kids they still had to pay the check. The funny thing was that all 5 couples fought fiercely for the privilege to pay it. Thanks for watching. If you found this story intriguing, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more captivating content. What would you do if you were in David's shoes? Let us know in the comments below. See you in the next video.